They say love is a battlefield. But what if I told you that winning that battle doesn't require chasing, begging, or even explaining yourself? What if there's one psychological principle, backed by scientific studies, that makes 99% of exes come crawling back to you, even the ones who swore they'd never look back? Now let's be clear. This isn't about manipulation, mind games, or revenge. This is about harnessing a principle that has been proven time and time again. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. That's Lao Tzu, and what he's saying is exactly why this works. When you master yourself, you become magnetic. Your ex can feel the shift, and suddenly they're the one chasing you. You see, most people make the same desperate mistakes after a breakup. They plead, they apologize endlessly, or worse, they lose themselves trying to prove their worth. But here's the kicker. The more you chase, the further they run. Psychologists call this the scarcity principle. It's simple. People desire what they can't easily have. And the moment you reclaim your power, they feel the loss. The truth is, what draws them back to you isn't your words or actions. It's your absence. Think of it like gravity. The more you focus on yourself, rebuild your confidence, and detach emotionally, the more you become like a force they can't ignore. Suddenly, your silence becomes deafening. Your absence becomes undeniable. This phenomenon is backed by studies on psychological reactance, which reveal that when something is taken away or becomes less accessible, its value increases dramatically. Your ex starts to realize that the version of you they once took for granted is no longer available. And guess what? That's exactly when they begin to question everything. Why? Because you've broken the cycle. As the great philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And it's that inner strength, your ability to move forward without them, that sends shockwaves through their mind. The beauty of this approach is that it's not about punishing them or playing mind games. It's about finally putting your own well-being first. And the moment you do, your value skyrockets. It's like you've stepped off their emotional pedestal and built one of your own. And when they notice the change, their curiosity and attraction are reignited like never before. Here's what's even crazier. When you follow this one principle, you don't just make them come back, you make them chase you. Because they're now battling with the fear of losing you for good. And as much as they try to deny it, their instincts won't let them walk away. So, if you're tired of waiting, tired of feeling powerless, and ready to flip the script once and for all, then stick around, because what I'm about to reveal could change everything. Not just for this relationship, but for every relationship you have from this day forward. If you're ready to reclaim your power and make them chase you, type this in the comments: I choose me. That's your mantra from now on. Because when you truly choose yourself, everyone else follows. Let's get started. Stay focused. Key point 1. The scarcity principle. The first key to making your ex come back and chase you is understanding the psychological power of absence, a phenomenon deeply rooted in what psychologists call the scarcity principle. This principle explains that people tend to value what is rare, limited, or suddenly unavailable. And when you remove yourself from your ex's life, you instantly create that sense of scarcity. Think about it. Humans are wired to want what they can't easily have. The moment you stop reaching out, stop apologizing, and stop trying to win them back, You trigger a fundamental shift in their mind. What was once abundant and easily accessible, your attention, your affection, your availability, is now gone. And their mind can't help but replay the moments they took you for granted. As Steve Jobs once said, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. When you withdraw your attention, you're not punishing them. You're showing them exactly what life without you feels like. And trust me, that realization hits harder than any speech, apology, or declaration of love ever could. Studies on psychological reactance reveal that when something is restricted or no longer available, its perceived value skyrockets. And here's the magic. By simply removing yourself from their life, you become something they must work to regain. Suddenly you're no longer an option, you're a priority. But here's the kicker. It only works when your absence is genuine. Not a ploy, not a tactic, but a sincere decision to focus on yourself, improve your life, and detach from the need for their validation. When you master this, you become someone they can't ignore. You're no longer the desperate person they left behind. You're now the person they can't stop thinking about. This step is crucial because it lays the foundation for everything that follows. Without creating this initial scarcity, your ex will continue to assume that you're there whenever they want. But the moment they realize you've truly pulled away, their curiosity and desire are reignited. Once you've created scarcity by removing yourself from their life, it's time to tap into one of the most powerful psychological principles of attraction, the law of reverse effort. Coined by philosopher and author Aldous Huxley, this principle states that the harder you try to achieve something, the more elusive it becomes. In other words, trying to force love or affection only drives it further away. Think about this. When you constantly reach out, apologize, or beg for their attention, you create resistance. You push them further away because they feel smothered, overwhelmed, or simply too comfortable knowing you'll always be there. The harder you try, the more they feel justified in their decision to leave. But the moment you let go and stop trying, everything changes. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, put it best. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. And this is where most people go wrong. They obsess over their exes' reactions, desperately seeking approval and affection instead of reclaiming their own power. But when you embrace the law of reverse effort and genuinely let go, something incredible happens. By shifting your focus away from them and toward your own growth and happiness, you create an energy of independence and confidence. And guess what? That's exactly what draws them back to you. This principle is backed by attachment theory, which shows that people are often more attracted to those who appear emotionally independent and self-sufficient. When your ex realizes you've stopped trying to win them back and have started thriving without them, they feel the pull of curiosity and desire. They wonder why you're suddenly so different, so calm, so powerful. Here's the key. Your ex needs to feel that your happiness no longer revolves around them, that your well-being is no longer in their control. This doesn't mean pretending to be fine. It means truly committing to your own growth, healing, and fulfillment. By letting go, you're not just playing hard to get. You're demonstrating something far more attractive, emotional freedom. And once your ex feels the shift, they'll be drawn back to you in ways they never expected. Now that you've embraced the power of absence and the law of reverse effort, it's time to understand the psychological principle that keeps you living rent-free in their mind, the Zeigarnik Effect. named after Russian psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik. This phenomenon explains why people remember incomplete or interrupted tasks far better than completed ones. And when it comes to relationships, nothing feels more incomplete than someone who walked away and didn't come chasing after them. Here's how it works. When your ex leaves, they expect you to react a certain way. They anticipate tears, begging, countless texts, and emotional explanations. When you don't give them what they expect, it leaves them feeling like there's unfinished business. That mental loop stays open, constantly poking at their thoughts like an itch they can't quite scratch. Psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik discovered this phenomenon when she noticed that waiters could remember complex orders perfectly while they were still being prepared. But once the orders were completed and delivered, the memory faded. The same thing happens with your ex. If they believe you've moved on without giving them closure or validation, you become an unresolved memory they can't forget. Or as poet Rumi once said, don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth. When you refuse to provide closure or fall back into predictable patterns, you're unfolding your own story, one where you're not chasing them but rather living fully for yourself. Here's the powerful part. The Zeigarnik Effect creates an obsessive need in your ex to resolve the emotional loose ends. They start to wonder why you haven't chased them, why you're so calm and centered, and why their decision didn't break you. This mental unease grows stronger each day they don't hear from you, eventually triggering them to reach out. But here's the kicker. When they do reach out, it's not because you've played some manipulative game. It's because you've authentically shifted your focus away from them. You've shown them through your actions, not words, that you are perfectly fine without them. And that reality terrifies them more than anything else. The Zeigarnik Effect works best when paired with genuine growth and healing. If you're simply pretending to be strong, they'll eventually see through it. But when your newfound strength and independence are real, they won't be able to shake the thought of losing you. You've learned how absence, letting go, and leaving things unresolved work to your advantage. Now let's take things even further with the contrast principle, a psychological concept that explains why your transformation becomes irresistibly attractive to your ex. The contrast principle suggests that when someone experiences something drastically different from what they're used to, the impact is far more powerful and memorable. In other words, if your ex expects you to be desperate, hurt, or emotionally weak, but instead finds you calm, happy, and thriving, the emotional impact on them is immense. This concept is beautifully summarized by the words of Carl Jung, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Your ex expects to find you dwelling in heartbreak, but instead, they find a person transformed by strength, resilience, and personal growth. The contrast is shocking, almost magnetic. Studies in social psychology have proven that contrast enhances desire. When something feels new, unfamiliar, and exciting, it becomes far more appealing. Your ex remembers you as the person they left behind, but now you're someone different, someone powerful, someone they can't quite figure out. And this mystery makes them want to know more. Here's the thing. Your transformation must be genuine. If you're faking confidence and pretending to be fine, it won't work. But if you truly invest in yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, your growth will be undeniable. Your ex will sense the change not just in how you look, but in how you carry yourself, how you speak, and most importantly, how little their opinion matters to you. Think of it like this. If they left you believing you would always be waiting for them, but instead they see you living your best life, they can't help but feel the urge to chase you. That's the power of contrast. You've redefined who you are, and the person they remember no longer exists. The contrast principle forces your ex to question their own judgment. They start to wonder if they were wrong about you, wrong about the breakup, and wrong about their decision to walk away. The more undeniable your transformation, the more powerful the contrast. But here's the key. You're not doing this for them. You're doing this for yourself. And when you truly commit to becoming the best version of you, their attraction becomes a mere byproduct of your own journey. Now that your transformation has created a striking contrast, it's time to dive into one of the most powerful psychological forces working in your favor: cognitive dissonance. This principle, first introduced by psychologist Leon Festinger, explains that when a person holds two conflicting beliefs or perceptions, it creates intense mental discomfort. And your ex, they're about to feel that discomfort in full force. You see, when your ex left, they likely justified their decision by believing things like, "I can do better. They'll never change. I'll be happier without them." But now, because of your growth, your newfound confidence, and the way you've genuinely moved on, their previous beliefs are being directly challenged. The person they thought you were, desperate, lost, emotionally broken, no longer exists. And that realization creates a psychological crisis in their mind. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "And when you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." When your ex looks at you now, they don't just see you, they see everything they misjudged, misunderstood, and underestimated. The longer they watch you thrive without them, the more they question their own judgment. This internal conflict between their old beliefs and their new reality forces them to reconsider their decision. They start asking themselves questions like, "Did I make a mistake? Why am I feeling this way? What if I gave up something amazing?" But here's where it gets interesting. Cognitive dissonance doesn't just cause discomfort, it creates motivation. The only way for them to relieve that discomfort is to resolve the inconsistency between their past decision and their current feelings. And the simplest way to do that: reaching out to you, attempting to rekindle what they threw away. But here's the key. Your ex must feel this discomfort long enough to recognize their mistake fully. If you reach out first, you rob them of the opportunity to face their own inner conflict. They need to realize, through their own thoughts and emotions, that they lost something of value. And when they do, it triggers a powerful desire to reconcile, to rewrite their own narrative, to make things right. But until then, the cognitive dissonance will continue to haunt them, pushing them closer to reaching out and trying to win you back. Now that cognitive dissonance has triggered your ex's inner turmoil, it's time to leverage another powerful psychological concept: the commitment and consistency principle. Introduced by psychologist Dr. Robert Cialdini, this principle states that people have a deep desire to be consistent with what they have previously committed to. When their actions don't align with their beliefs or previous decisions, it creates discomfort they're driven to resolve. Here's how it applies to your situation. Your ex likely told themselves, and maybe even others, that breaking up with you was the right decision. They may have even justified their choice by mentally listing all the reasons why the relationship wasn't working. But now, as they see you thriving and standing strong in your own power, their previous narrative begins to collapse. They've committed to the belief that they don't need you, that they made the right choice by walking away. But as you continue to grow, evolve, and remain unbothered, the inconsistency between their belief and their current feelings creates unbearable discomfort. They feel compelled to reconcile their past decision with their present emotions. As Warren Buffett wisely said, what the human being is best at doing is interpreting all new information so that their prior conclusions remain intact. But here's the twist. When your transformation is undeniable, their previous conclusion becomes impossible to defend. Now, their brain begins working overtime to resolve this inconsistency. They start rationalizing why they feel drawn to you again, even if they can't fully understand why. They may try to convince themselves, maybe we just needed time apart to grow. Maybe I was too quick to judge. Maybe they've changed, and so have I. And this is where things get interesting. The more they think about you, the stronger their desire to reconnect becomes. The urge to make things right isn't just emotional, it's psychological. Their mind is literally pushing them to act, to align their actions with their new, evolving belief. That maybe, just maybe, they made a huge mistake by letting you go. Here's the critical part. By not reaching out, by continuing to focus on yourself, you're allowing them to experience the full power of their own cognitive dissonance. You're giving them the space to reevaluate, to question, and ultimately to chase you out of their own need to resolve this inner conflict. And when they finally reach out, it won't be because you tried to force them. It'll be because their own mind couldn't take the inconsistency anymore. That's how you truly turn the tables. Now we arrive at one of the most potent psychological triggers of all, the fear of missing out, FOMO. This principle explains why people feel a deep sense of anxiety and urgency when they perceive they are missing out on something valuable, exciting, or exclusive. And when it comes to relationships, nothing activates FOMO like the thought of you moving on and living your best life without them. Psychologist Dan Ariely, a pioneer in behavioral economics, stated, "We are always looking at the things we can't have, what we can't do, and what we haven't experienced. And guess what? Your ex is no exception. They're human, and the idea of you finding happiness, success, and even love without them can become a relentless mental torture." But here's the thing. You can't fake this. If you pretend to be happy and thriving just to make them jealous, they will see right through it. Instead, your growth must be authentic. Your newfound confidence, your emotional independence, your achievements, and your positive outlook on life must be real. The more you embrace your own growth, the more their FOMO intensifies. They see you making progress, having fun, building new connections, and genuinely enjoying life. And that's when their thoughts spiral. Have they moved on? What if someone else sees their worth? What if I lost them for good? This fear is only amplified when they realize you're no longer accessible. You're no longer giving them the same attention, the same validation, or the same emotional availability. The very fact that you've detached makes them question everything. As author Paulo Coelho once wrote, "When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. But when they fear losing you, their own mind conspires against them. Their imagination becomes their worst enemy, painting vivid pictures of you finding happiness with someone else. FOMO is a powerful driver of action. It forces your ex to confront their own worst fears and ultimately to make a move before it's too late. And when they do, it won't be out of pity or obligation. It will be out of genuine desire and panic over losing you for good. Now you know the truth. Your ex's return isn't just a matter of chance. It's the result of powerful psychological principles that force them to rethink, regret, and ultimately chase after you. You've learned how the scarcity principle, law of reverse effort, Zeigarnik Effect, contrast principle, cognitive dissonance, commitment and consistency principle, and fear of missing out, FOMO, all work together to completely transform their perception of you. But here's the most important part. You're not doing this to get them back. You're doing this to get yourself back. The irony is, the moment you truly reclaim your own power, they feel the loss like never before. Your absence becomes their obsession. Your growth becomes their regret. And your strength becomes their weakness. As the legendary poet Rumi once said, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you truly love. It will not lead you astray, and the most powerful thing you can love right now is your own growth and healing. Because when you elevate yourself, you become a magnet, not just to your ex, but to everyone around you. But here's the catch. This transformation must be real. If you're simply waiting around for them to notice you, they'll see right through it. But when you genuinely focus on yourself, something magical happens. They can't ignore it. They can't stop thinking about it. And eventually, they can't resist coming back. So here's your challenge. Stop waiting. Stop hoping. Start living. Take all the energy you once poured into them and invest it back into yourself. Because when you do, you're not only reclaiming your power, you're making yourself impossible to forget. Now, I want you to make a declaration of your own. Drop this mantra in the comments right now. I choose me. Because that's where real power comes from. And if you're ready to truly master these principles and reclaim your power for good, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We're just getting started, and I can't wait to help you step fully into your own strength. Remember, you're not just the prize. You're the only prize worth chasing. I'll see you in the next video.